Last week on the podcast, we spoke about all the things that I would focus on if I was trying to get pregnant again in 2026. Today, we continue part 2 of this series by going through what I would stop doing. Because so often on this journey, we are told to add more, to do more, and to do things better. So today, I want to make your life a little easier and take away all the things that you do not need to be worrying about or spending your time on. Welcome to your journey to fertility. This is the podcast that blends science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so that you can stop stressing that you'll never have your baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today and jumping into part 2 of this 3-part series. And I really enjoyed putting these together as well because this episode is not about, stop doing this and stop doing that and take away all the, you're doing things wrong. Absolutely, that is not the energy of where we were going with this. But what I really want to focus on with this is to get into the little things of what is taking up too much of your energy and time as you are trying to conceive. And these episodes that I have put together, they're not just based on my personal experience, but the things that I see coming up with my students that I work with nowadays. And these are the same things that tend to come up over and over again. And it's all about looking at what is going on in your life, taking stock of everything that you are doing. And it is about doing less and removing what is quietly burning you out over time to a point where we don't even realize it. And after weeks, months, years on this journey, we are absolutely exhausted. I really struggled with this idea of doing less because I thought more equaled more. And that is usually, with most things in life, the way that we get to where we want to go. But when it comes to struggling to have a family, we know that doing more, adding more to your plate, it can really end up working against you. So let's get straight into it. Here are the 6 things that I would stop doing if I was trying to conceive. So number 1, I would stop treating this journey like a deadline. And this is such a hard one to hear because we want everything yesterday. And especially when we have realized that things aren't going too well and we know perhaps that things are going to be a little more difficult than we anticipated, we just want things to happen and we want things to move on immediately. So whether you have been on this journey for a while or if you're at an age where, you're told that things may be more difficult, which I was, it feels like time is your greatest enemy. And it feels like, if I don't get pregnant this month or the next month or by this date, it is never going to happen for me. When I was going through, it was more the second journey when I was trying to have my second baby. We were living overseas and I had in my mind that I could not move back to my home city in Australia without my family because all my friends back in Sydney, they had already had their kids, they had built their families, they were moving on with their lives, they'd had their second, their third child or however many. And I just, for some reason, had this huge block around I cannot go back to Australia without my family complete. But who put this timeline into place? Like who put that pressure on me? I did. I was the only one that decided it had to happen then. And in the end, we were caught overseas during COVID, so we were there for much longer than we anticipated. So I did end up going back with my family. But if we had gone home when we had planned to, if COVID hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gone back with my family complete. But I think what difference would it really have made if I had kept trying a few months later, or if I'd gone through IVF back home in another city? I look back now and I think things worked out the way they worked out, and they were always going to do that anyway. So this idea of being really forceful around timing adds that extra layer of unnecessary stress on top of you. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing this. I don't think I really realized I was doing it either. I didn't verbalize it to people. I didn't sort of say, well, obviously it has to be by this month, because otherwise we'll leave and things won't be okay. But we put these ridiculous time pressures on ourselves because we think that if it doesn't happen by this date, then it never will. But looking back now, I know that the timing just didn't matter for me. And I wanted this 18-month to 2-year age gap between my kids, and I don't have that, but it just doesn't matter in hindsight. I think that this urgency really creates more internal stress within the body. It creates more stress hormones, more cortisol, and it makes our lives more difficult. And it's this thing that we just don't need on top of everything else. So whenever you find yourself getting really panicky about time, I want you to place a hand on your heart or somewhere on your body where you feel supported and safe, and remind yourself in this moment that that does not matter. Because if you don't get pregnant next month, but you do in 6 months, I promise you that it isn't going to matter in the long term. Number 2, I would stop panic Googling or panic ChatGPTing every little symptom, or getting a test result and looking at the answer and then putting that straight into a different AI platform. Because you are going to keep going until you have all the answers, and not the answer for you or necessarily the quote unquote correct answer, but literally every single answer in the planet. Good, bad, ugly, everything in between. You're going to get all of that info, and some of it is going to reassure you, but some of it is going to make you spiral as well. Because we all know that time that we've put in, here are my symptoms, can this come out in a healthy pregnancy? Is this going to equate to a healthy pregnancy? And there'll be a whole bunch of things that say, yes, absolutely, and a whole bunch that will say, definitely not. And it's like, okay, well, where do I sit now and what do I believe? And am I just now going through another rabbit hole of more questions and needing more answers? This really leads to this spiral of hypervigilance. And the problem with this idea of hypervigilance, when we get into this and we have this need to keep knowing and to keep searching, this is your brain's way of trying to control the situation. You are going into fight or flight mode, and this is your brain's way of fighting the situation. And the more that we do it, the more that your brain actually thinks that you're doing a good job, because as you go through these spirals, you are surviving. You are, your body is living, you keep going. So your brain thinks, okay, I've got to keep doing this in order to survive. And our poor brains don't understand that this particular situation isn't life-threatening. Fight or flight to your brain is literally life or death. So the more we get into these little cycles, the more we get stuck in them because our brains think that they're doing the right thing. So I want you to become really aware of it and just say, okay, I've gotten a result that I don't think is amazing. I've got a symptom here. I don't know what the answer is going to be. Who am I going to ask for help? Who am I going to ask for support? And if I am going to go through this process of putting it into Google or whatever it might be, what are my limitations around that? Am I going to get one answer? Am I going to go 5 minutes? Put some guidelines around it. Otherwise, you will spiral yourself as well. Information overload to your nervous system is so incredibly dysregulating. We spoke last week about finding your team. So finding like this small group of really trusted advisors or trusted people around you. They don't have to be medical experts, but people who you know are going to say, it's okay. I'm not going to tell you to calm down. It's the last thing I'm going to tell you to do, but it's okay. These symptoms are normal. Everything that is going through your head now, I've been through this. Just finding the people who you know are going to talk you off that cliff. And know that if you fall down these rabbit holes of needing more information, you're going to get stuck in them. So go to your trusted advisors and make sure that you can find your way out of them before it gets overwhelming and becomes too late. So number 3, I would stop assuming that every cycle that doesn't work is a complete failure. And this is really hard to do, and especially if it is a treatment cycle like IVF where so much has gone into that. So much goes into creating those little embryos and all of the waiting that has led up to the transfer and all of the hormones and the money and the time and the emotional expense. I completely get it. But when something doesn't work, it is not a failure. And I hate all of the language that we use around these things. We use failed cycles, we have failed transfers, recurrent implantation failure. All these horrible words in the language really gets to us, I find. And it is a massive, massive loss. Every step of this journey that isn't the outcome that you want, that isn't successful, it is a big thing. And I totally get that. But you didn't fail. Your body didn't fail. And while some of us need a little bit more support, it isn't because you did anything wrong. You are always, always going to make the very, very best decisions that you can with all of the information that you have. Maybe sometimes we do need more information, but that is a process, and it's not something that you potentially even knew to go and investigate until it becomes a certain point in your timeline. I want you to really normalize variability. And every fertility doctor will tell you that even when you have the perfect tested embryo, you have the perfect environment, the lining is perfect, all the hormone levels are perfect, sometimes it still doesn't work. And we can't really pinpoint why. And there is this element, I think, to this whole thing, which makes it so frustrating, is that sometimes we just don't know. So really normalize that this variability between cycles and just between month to month trying isn't always going to give you the same result. 1 + 1 just does not equal 2 on this whole journey. And I really want you to come out of self-blame, because what I said earlier is so true. It is nothing that you have done, and it is through no fault of your own. I think there are a lot of different ways and better ways to track your progress on this journey. So it's not just about, well, did I get pregnant this month? Yes or no? Well, what did my cycle look like this month? Maybe I had really bad PMS for the last few months, and this month I actually felt a little bit better. Maybe over the last few cycles, you've been ovulating more regularly and consistently. Things feel more predictable. Maybe it's even little things like, I feel lighter. I don't feel as miserable. I'm sleeping better. I feel like I can connect more with my partner. These are all little signs that we are making progress along the way before we get our 2 pink lines. And I found that when I notice these little things, and it's a roller coaster, right? Some days you're going to have great days and you think, I feel really good today. I feel really capable in my own body. I feel really calm. And then the next day you're just a crying mess and everything triggers you and you burst into tears every 5 minutes. That is okay. But when you do find these little moments of things that are signs of progress, write them down. I just had like a list in the notes app in my phone, and I would come back to those little things on days that I was really struggling. And I would just say to myself, wow, I am actually making progress. Things are changing. And those are the things that are going to help to keep you going before you get your positive pregnancy test. So number 4, I would stop comparing my journey to others. I have done episodes about comparison in the past because, goodness, where do we even start with this? It's so hard. It's friends, it's family, it's colleagues, it's influencers, it's anyone who started trying at the same time as you. It looks so easy for everyone else, doesn't it? And comparison is such a modern thing that we do, and social media does not help with any of this, right? We compare ourselves to others all the time in so many different ways, and this creates such a huge amount of dysregulation, such a huge amount of stress within our own bodies and within our own lives. And how do we come out of this? Because it's so automatic, isn't it? We're set up from even the days of our schooling, where at school you're ranked and you're coming first in this or 50th in maths or whatever it is. And, you do your school exams and whatever else that you go through after that. We are compared to others in these little pockets of our lives that look the same in so many different ways. So to start coming out of comparison is really hard because it surrounds us all the time. We can curate our social media feeds. I think my husband has done such a good job of this for some reason. His social media feed is just like animals doing stupid things that make you laugh. And he sends me these videos all the time. I'm like, is your social media feed really just funny animal videos? He's like, yes. So I don't know how he's curated that or even if he's meant to, but that's what he ends up being shown when he jumps on Instagram. So there are ways that you can curate things to make your algorithm make you feel better. Maybe just deleting social media platforms is good for you. If that's something that you can do, great, and it helps you, go for it. But if it's something that you enjoy, you want to use it to connect with people, but you don't want to keep getting triggered, find ways to say, no, I don't want to be shown more of this content, and really focus on the things that you do, mute the people that trigger you, and try to get out of that idea of every time I'm going to look at this, I'm going to get stuck in that trap of comparison. It is also okay to say no to these events and gatherings that we get invited to when you can. I know that it's not always possible, but it's okay to protect your heart. And if you offend someone, you can send them a gentle note to say, look, here is the reason I can't come. Or if that's not appropriate, you can just tell them you're sick on the day. Maybe we can't do that 20 times in a row. It starts becoming a little obvious, but where possible, give yourself that permission to protect your heart and just say, no, I'm not going to be in that position today. So removing all of these things that get us stuck in comparing our journeys and where we are to others. Number 5 is that I would stop trying to control every variable. And we spoke about this in a slightly different way last week, but this is where we start spiraling and things become so hard. It's really, really difficult to pull yourself out of it once you start. So it's the food perfectionism, it's the supplement stacking. It's when we read the books and we see that, okay, there are these 12 different supplements that are meant to help egg quality. So what I'm going to do is take every single one of them. It's really hard to say, well, okay, but if I take more, surely I will support myself more. But getting the information that what you need for your body might not be everything that is listed in this book. So being able to scale back instead of adding more and more and more to your plate. Some of the wearable devices that we have these days, I really love some of them, especially like the Oura Ring and the Whoop and some of the newer Apple Watches where they can track ovulation and they track that rise in temperature and your basal body temperature. These are really awesome tools, and we've really moved a long way from the strips where it will tell you if you're ovulating or the little smiley face that starts flashing. And I think though a lot of this can become very obsessive, and we tend to use all of them. We'll use the ovulation predictor kits, and we'll use the wearable devices, and we'll be taking our temperature on top of that. Like, it can become a lot. And I remember the month that I did fall pregnant with my son, I had been tracking ovulation for months and months and months. And for whatever reason, I never got a positive ovulation test that month. The smiley face flashing thing that I was using, it never showed me that I got a peak test. So I thought that month was a complete write-off. But I guess I just didn't take it at the right time or on the right day or start testing early enough, because that was the month I got pregnant. So these devices are really helpful in a lot of ways, especially if you have an irregular cycle and you do need a bit more guidance, but they can become very obsessive and overwhelming. And if you find that it is too much for you and you're getting very triggered every time that you have to look at your data that's being presented to you, maybe try and track your cycle for a few months without them, because your body does actually give you a lot of signs and signals which you can tune into as well. And the biohacking overwhelm, oh my goodness, like there's just so much these days, isn't there? There's magic supplement powders, and God, I found myself getting sucked into one yesterday. It was like this, I don't know, medicinal mushroom powder is meant to help you sleep and, make you more regulated in your nervous system. I'm on the website. I was like, no, Jen, like, no, you know enough, you do enough. You don't need to buy this $85 powder. But it's easy to get sucked into these things, all those red light machines and all the vagus nerve stimulators, and don't buy them. Really, you can hum yourself, and it's free. The cold plunges, and it is too much. It is too much. So stop trying to control every variable. You really do have so many of these tools already available within your own body, and we just need to tune into being able to know what they are and to use them. So it is the difference between supporting yourself and micromanaging your entire existence, which is exhausting. So being able to be aware of the fine line between the two. And the last thing that I would stop doing if I was trying to conceive this year is I would stop waiting until I got that positive test to feel better, to live my life. There's this belief that we all seem to have, and myself included, on this journey, that everything will be fixed. Everything that I've been through, all the trauma of this journey is going to magically be healed the moment I get that positive pregnancy test. I will magically feel better. Everything will be erased. But the reality is that sometimes you need support to help you get through this, even once you have that positive pregnancy test, because that isn't going to magically erase everything that you've been through. But we don't also want to get pregnant in this state of, I am so overwhelmed. My life is so miserable. And I'm pregnant. It's like, no, you should be able to be happy and get the positive pregnancy test. We sort of don't mean to, but we tell ourselves we can't be happy until. But I want you to know that you deserve to be happy now, today, well before you get those 2 pink lines. And that is something that we don't hear enough. And I think that we need more of this in our lives. And it might be something as simple as listening to podcasts like this, ways to make yourself feel more hopeful, to feel more capable, positive, to feel lighter on this journey. We maybe need some more people around us that are supporting us. And sometimes we use our partner as our kind of everything. They are our best friend, our counselor, our psychologist. These people do so much for us, but we maybe need a little bit more support around us than that. Maybe it is speaking to a therapist that really takes that load off, and someone who can professionally help you work through a lot of these informations. But sometimes it's as simple as just this online support network, like being able to go into a community and have people hold space around you is so, so important. And I always include this in all of my programs, because just being in that energy of, I don't even have to say anything, but these people get what I'm going through. That is really, really important. And I want to remind you that you are not expected to feel positive at every stage of this journey, because that's impossible and you're not going to be. But it also doesn't it doesn't mean that you're going to rule out your chances of being pregnant this month if you are completely miserable the whole time. So you're going to have to ride these waves. And if you've had a really difficult month and things haven't gone well, that doesn't mean that you won't get pregnant. But at the same time, I want you to invite some lightness back into your life, some joy. You can feel grief and hope at the same time. So finding that emotional safety, and it's not this forced positive mindset, like I'm going to do my affirmations, I'm going to talk myself into feeling better, but just finding little ways to bring some joy back into your day. So planning these things that have nothing to do with fertility, planning dates with your partner, planning things that you enjoy that have nothing to do with whether or not you're going to get pregnant this month, but they make you feel good. They make your body feel good in the moment. You deserve to have some of that each and every day. So to recap this episode, all of the things that I would stop doing if I was trying to conceive this year, I would begin by removing the pressure of time, or just being aware of these deadlines that you are placing on yourself. Number 2, I would practice releasing that need to search out answers for every tiny little symptom, and instead just try to lean into trusting my body and trusting the process and everyone around me that I lean to for advice. Number 3 is I would remind myself that every cycle that isn't successful isn't because you're doing anything wrong or failing in any way. Number 4, I would stop that trap of comparison and coming back to where you are in the moment instead, and just celebrating every other little achievement that you've gone through in your life. Number 5, I would release that need to control every single variable, from every single meal that I ate to all the decisions that I make. And the last one, number 6, I wouldn't wait to feel positive. I would ask for the support that I needed if I needed it, and I would plan things that made me happy in the meantime. So in closing with this episode, If this journey feels like it's been really heavy lately, I just want you to know that you are not alone in that and you are not behind. You are walking through your own journey, and we don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know what the end result is going to be, but it is okay where you are now. And it's not what you do once in a while, I think, that supports your fertility. It's these little things that we come back to again and again in a way that feels sustainable, not doing everything obsessively all at once, but these small incremental changes that help our bodies to feel good. Those are the things that are really going to have an impact long term, because your body isn't something that you need to fix. It is something to work with. And this can be a beautiful process of learning and to feeling into what we need and what our bodies need, and to become a team, to really lean into that two-way communication street. Things can begin to shift in really quiet ways long before you ever see those two lines on a test. So if you found this episode helpful today, I would be so honored if you could share it with someone, leave a quick review. And remember, all of the free resources that I have, if you need that extra support, if you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, and you want just some little extra things to throw into your toolbox, remember I have a free fertility yoga guide available, which gives you different yoga, meditation, and breathwork practices to help you at every stage of this journey. There's a link to that in the show notes, so please go and grab a copy if you haven't already. Now, next week on the podcast, I'm going to be wrapping up this series by outlining the things that I would do if I wanted to stay sane, if I was trying to conceive this year. Because as we all well know, this journey makes you crazy. So we will be going through all of those things next week. But until then, I am sending you all of my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility.